all admire someone who has a fascinating life story that not everyone knows about. Arthur Joseph Rooney Sr. lived one of these stories. Arthur was a man who had a considerably normal life, became the founder of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, and left a rich legacy for generations to come. Arthur Joseph Rooney was born in Coulterville, Pennsylvania on January 27, 1901. He had 8 siblings, and his father was a saloon keeper. The family moved to Pittsburgh in 1903. He never left the neighborhood in North Pittsburgh that he grew up in. As a boy, he played baseball and football. He also became an amateur boxing champion. Art attended Indiana University of Pennsylvania, where he was described as a young baseball player of great promise. Later, he went to Georgetown and Duquesne University in Washington and Jefferson College. During his time at Duquesne, he starred on the football team as a 5'7" halfback. He declined football scholarship offers by Notre Dame twice, even though he had a liking for it because of his Irish Catholic upbringing. He was also offered baseball contracts by the Cubs and the Red Sox. Art played in the minors and was player manager on the Whaling team in the Mid-Atlantic League. His major league hopes were ended with an arm injury. He was also selected by the U.S. Olympic boxing team, but once again, he declined. Rooney never kept a steady, regular job throughout his life. He did attempt to work in a steel mill once before quitting and never returning for his pay. Rooney often made money by facing carnival fighters for 3 rounds. He also had love for the racetrack. His wealth was started with the winnings from the gamble. Art was involved in many business enterprises. However, his entrepreneurial attention typically went towards sports. Art won a long shot parlay in 1933. It is believed that he took these winnings to purchase the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, originally known as the Pirates, for $2,500. He patiently waited to become successful in the NFL. In his first 8 years, the team was only able to pull off 24 wins with 5 different head coaches, which caused him to lose money. It wasn't until 1940 that Rooney changed the name of the team to the Steelers. He wanted them to represent the history of the city. The Steelers had their first winning record 2 years after they adopted the Steelers as their name under head coach Walt Kiesling. They ended the season with a 7-4 record. Their success started rising from the 1942 season forward. It took 40 years for the Steelers to win their first divisional title. The team presented Art Rooney the game ball after the 1975 championship. They became the first team in NFL history to win 4 Super Bowls and the only team to win twice back-to-back. They became known as the team of the decade through the 1970s. Arthur Rooney passed away in 1988, 8 days after having a stroke. He has continued to be an inspiration for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Arthur Rooney became a legend known as the Chief in the NFL. He was inducted into the Pro Hall of Fame in 1964. He was well known for being kind and selfless, often paying visits to the locker room during his time with the Steelers, where the team players would honor him by standing no matter how tired they were from playing. In October 2016, a hometown Hall of Famer plaque for Art Rooney was presented to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Duquesne University, accepted by his grandson, Art Rooney II. The Steelers franchise stayed in the family even after Art's death. His oldest son, Daniel Rooney, took over. He held many positions in the Steelers organization. Daniel also became a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2000. This was only the second father-son duo to be in the Hall of Fame. He was known in the NFL for his influential executives as a peacemaker. In 2002, he became the chairman for the NFL Diversity Committee that later was known as the Rooney Rule. He provided opportunities in coaching and NFL front office positions for minorities. Daniel Rooney was also the U.S. ambassador to Ireland and co-founder of the American Ireland Fund, which is dedicated to the building bridges of peace, culture, and charity throughout Ireland. He too helped this NFL franchise gain many successes. Dan Rooney passed away in April of 2017. This year's St. Patrick's Day parade in Pittsburgh will be dedicated to him after the death of Dan. The franchise was passed down yet another generation. His son Arthur Rooney II, who had previously been the team's vice president, took over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have won 6 of the 8 Super Bowl appearances. The Pittsburgh Steelers remain a remarkably strong team. Today, I'm confident that I was able to inform you about the life of Arthur Rooney. He grew up in North Pittsburgh as a seemingly normal child, became a successful ambassador for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and left a legacy for the next 2 generations. Art Rooney is a legend to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the fan base known as the Steel Nation. I'm proud to say that he started the success of my favorite NFL team.